Usher is finally taking Diddy down, and fans think there's no going back for Puffy now.
And I'm not going back and forth with nobody. I'm just going to, if I'm here, I'm going to speak up for myself. I'm going to speak up for myself now. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to have you think something that I hate. I hate a thief. I hate somebody that don't got, and I don't hate nobody, but that's with somebody that just got to take something that somebody else worked for just for their benefit and their family. I don't like that. You know, help me clear this up.
What would the lot say?
Like I spoke to the lot. Yeah, I told the lot. They gonna help me clear it up. Yeah. They know, the truth gonna be the truth. But we gonna get to the truth. As long as I'm outside, we gonna get, not trying to start nothing with nobody. Mace, I love Mace. And I will tell anybody thinks I owe them something, show me the receipt. You get paid in 24 hours. I will be saying something about it. I'm in amazement on what's going on in the world. But hey, who am I? I am somebody. But even I get tired of this, man. Woo! It's too much cooning and buffooning, y'all. Too much. And we all guilty of it. But damn, man. I can't believe this is what hip-hop has become, man. I just can't. My mind is like blown, man. So, y'all need to watch some documentaries on hip-hop. People don't even know what hip-hop is.
Usher is saying that Diddy's been taking things that aren't his. Now, Usher thinks that it's wrong and wants to set things straight. He's talked about speaking up for himself and finding out the truth. Usher says he's tired of all the drama and nonsense in the world, especially in hip-hop. He thinks people need to learn more about the real history of the business.
What did Diddy get these two into? Strap in, because this story is a total mind-blower. There's been loads of talk about Diddy throwing his weight around in the music scene. He's big on scouting talents like Usher, but there are some sketchy stories floating around too. There's a vibe that he might not have always had Usher's back, and there's chatter about him getting a bit too close for comfort with Justin Bieber when he was just a teen.
Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, where we hanging out and what we doing.
Diddy's known for finding new talent like Usher, but there are rumors that he wasn't always supporting Usher fully. Some stories suggest that Diddy may have gotten too involved with Justin Bieber when he was young. It's like they were having a great time together, similar to the movie 48 Hours.
Before he met Diddy, Usher was a kid who believed he was destined to be great.
I want to have a name for myself.
It was his dream.
If I don't believe it, nobody else would.
When he was only 13, the world started believing in his talent.
Young man is going places. The next Michael Jackson.
But to become a star, he had to spend a year with a man he barely knew.
You've changed your name to Love.
I have become Love.
Okay.
We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
Did you feel like that took away from your childhood at all?
Flavor Camp was Usher's last chance at having a career.
Giving up is not an option in life. There's always a way.
The allegations are absolutely horrific.
Were you the only kid at Puffy Flavor Camp?
Where we hanging out and what we doing, we can't really disclose.
Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs, accused of trafficking and assault.
Before meeting Diddy, Usher was a kid with big dreams of greatness. At just 13, people started recognizing his talent, comparing him to Michael Jackson. To pursue stardom, he spent a year with Diddy, even changing his name to Love. Flavor Camp was his shot at a career, and giving up was never an option for him, even though he faced allegations against Diddy. Usher persevered through Flavor Camp.
What you mean by Usher, though?
Usher used to stay with Diddy, too.
And, but do I regret it? For the fact that he wants to be called Cinco,
right?
I know that he probably has some, something with it. But I'm like, hey, you know what though? Do what you want, man.
You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
According to a man, Usher, he's saying that Usher gave him herpes and wants Usher to turn over his medical records.
I moved to New York City. And I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp?
Yeah,
Flavor
that's
Camp.
what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In the 90s. Do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really.
Come on.
But hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Is Usher finally taking a stand for himself?
But we come from a very homosexual era of hip-hop as well.
Usher stayed with Diddy, And there's talk about calling him Kinko now. Usher lived with Diddy as part of a program called Puffy Camp. There are allegations about Usher giving someone herpes, and he's speaking up for himself.
Last night, this clip of Usher resurfaced where he says he saw very curious things when he lived with Diddy for a year at age 13. But I don't think enough people are really processing how messed up this actually is. I am Andy Signor, and every day, Cat Williams is becoming more and more of a prophet.
Because P Diddy be wanting the body, and you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no.
You gotta tell him no. And it seems Usher maybe told him no, or is maybe covering up for something.
Usher mentioned seeing concerning things during his year with Diddy at 13, but people aren't fully grasping the seriousness of it. There's speculation that Usher might be resisting Diddy's demands or hiding something. This situation echoes warnings from comedian Cat Williams about standing up to Diddy's desires.
So, what's the deal with Diddy and Usher? Usher's back in the spotlight again because of some stuff he said back in the day about hanging out at Diddy's place when he was just a kid. This all popped up again after the feds raided Diddy's places in LA and Miami, checking out some serious sex trafficking stuff. Diddy hasn't been charged with anything yet, and he's super ticked off about the raid, calling it way over the top. Back when Usher was the only kid at Diddy's Puffy Flavor Camp, you gotta wonder about what was going on. A throwback article from Rolling Stone said Usher moved to New York in 1994 when he was about 15 and Diddy was turning 25. Here's how Usher ended up at Diddy's pad. At 13, Usher wowed Antonio L.A. Reid from LaFace Records and got signed. But marketing young Usher was tough, so Reid sent him to Diddy to toughen up his image. Reid was like, "Can you give him some of your vibe?" He wanted Usher to be more than just the pretty music LaFace usually produced. Reid later said it was risky sending Usher to Party Central with Diddy, but it worked out.
Usher's past remarks about being at Diddy's as a kid resurfaced after federal raids on Diddy's properties for sex trafficking investigations. Usher's connection to Diddy goes back to his teenage years when his record label sent him to Diddy to toughen up his image. Despite the risks, it allowed Usher to mingle with stars like Notorious B.I.G.
Let us investigate more. We've all heard the tales about what happened in Sean Diddy Combs' family while Usher Raymond was his adolescent disciple. But weren't those simply rumors? That's incorrect. We never heard anything from the two superstars who spent so much time together back in the day. That is, until around the year 2012. In a live video stream a few years back, Diddy messed up and admitted he and Usher had slept together but swiftly sought to cover up his slip-up with a Boondocks phrase. Pause, and no holdouts. Diddy needed a second chance. The bad boy boss humorously attempted to rebound from his pause with an even worse statement about wrestling while Usher stood by his side looking humiliated. "You know what? I'm saying this is my brother for real. We used to actually wrestle off of the Frosted Flakes," he added, "because he used to always get up earlier than me, and now he's one of the richest stars in the world, and I love him."
Diddy made a shocking admission that he and Usher had slept together but tried to cover it up with a phrase from the Boondocks. He awkwardly joked about wrestling with Usher, while Usher stood by looking embarrassed. Diddy called Usher his brother and reminisced about wrestling over Frosted Flakes, highlighting Usher's success.
Looking at this lawsuit, right, Lil Rod, he alleges that, Diddy told him personally that he had sex with Usher. And when you look at the lawsuit, even though they got Usher's name redacted, you could tell who it is because they described him as the guy that performed at the Super Bowl.
Right.
So, we all know who that is, but how you feel about that, man?
Well, I mentioned that earlier, that he said about Stevie J. The Usher part, that's a touchy situation, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I had a certain feeling and I felt a certain way when Usher got on Shay Shay, and I don't mean to mention other people's platforms, but he got on Shay Shay and he mentioned how great and how good Puff taught him and everything. You know what I'm saying? About the business, right? I know, and people know, that was around that in that time that Puff and Usher did have a situation. And that situation led Usher to the hospital. Now, I let Usher explain that to y'all. I let Usher tell that story. But how dare you say a man that groomed you?
Diddy personally told someone that he had sexual relations with Usher, even though Usher's name was redacted in the lawsuit. It's a touchy subject, especially considering Usher's praise for Diddy's influence. There were rumors about a situation between Usher and Diddy that led Usher to the hospital, but it's best to let Usher explain his side of the story.
Amidst their raid of Sean Diddy Combs' mansions, the feds have come across some shocking and quite incriminating evidence of the rapper's alleged grooming of musicians Justin Bieber and Usher. Take a look.
I started valuing the wrong things in this business because there was things dangling in front of me. If I get this, I'll be happy. If I do this, I'll be happy. I never had that security in a family. I never had that consistency. I never had the reliability and the accountability and all these things that make you understand the way the world works.
Hollywood and its biggies are quite famous for being involved in the most bizarre causes and acting improperly. Most notably, Sean Diddy Combs has been known to be a drug addict who exploits and sexually misuses the up-and-coming talent of the industry.
He was giving parties at the Red Zone, and he was giving parties at the building. That's when they was doing unsigned.
Now, the feds have uncovered evidence suggesting that Diddy allegedly groomed musicians like Justin Bieber and Usher. Bieber reflects on valuing the wrong things in the industry, driven by insecurity and a lack of family stability. Hollywood's big names like Diddy are often associated with bizarre behavior and exploitation of talent. Diddy, in particular, is known for his lavish parties in places like the Red Zone.
He signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher.
Word is that Diddy and Bieber kicked it for a couple of days when Bieber was only 15. There's a clip going around of Diddy gifting him a Lamborghini and chatting about Bieber driving it when he turned 16. That's got everyone on high alert. Some think Diddy was dragging Bieber into some grown-up drama way too soon. And let's be real, stars like Bieber, they need solid guidance, not to be tossed into the deep end before they're ready. But it's not just this. Diddy's also caught some heat for assault allegations and other messy stuff. Not everything might be true, but with ex-colleagues and folks close to him raising eyebrows about his behavior and even his motives, it's tough to just ignore. You gotta take it with a grain of salt, but it's pretty wild how people are linking Diddy's influence to the troubles folks like Usher and Bieber ended up.
Several celebrities have referred to or recounted uncomfortable situations with the rapper Sean Diddy Combs, with Chris Brown, Wendy Williams, Gene Deal, and especially Cassie being one of the few to have gone above and beyond and filed a lawsuit against the mogul. But with Usher now taking the lead and revealing Diddy's grooming scenarios with the singer while he was young and naive, the world is losing it all.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place. And I didn't necessarily understand it.
Remember, Usher? We was at the Swiss Hotel. Puff had Kim in the room. Had one of Keith Sweat's baby mothers in the big room outside the master bedroom. He came outside in his robe. She gave him a fellatio right there. His back was turned to me. She gave him a fellatio. You knocked on the door. I came and opened the door for you. Puff went in the room. You came in the room and kissed that girl dead in her mouth. Now I'm telling that because you taking up for somebody that you know and a lot of more people know didn't do you right when you was at Diddy camp. Y'all put it together.
And what you mean by Diddy count?
Remember? He was on one of the talk shows. The white guy with the curly hair. What's his name?
And I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you
New
over
York
to something
City.
called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp?
Yeah,
Flavor
that's what it
Camp.
was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In the 90s, do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really.
Come on.
But hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody
crazy.
tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place. And I didn't necessarily understand it.
Biggie Smalls was there.
Biggie Smalls was there. Lil' Kim.
Craig Mack.
All these people are hanging around.
Yeah, man. Faith Evans,
your parents
Jodeci,
were
Mary J.
okay?
Blige. They didn't know nothing about this shit.
Oh.
I was having a good time. You know what I mean?
Does he have you doing any chores? Are you doing dishes at all? I mean, to keep you humble somewhat? Or are you just like, can you stay up till 4 a.m. with them and party?
I mean, I could. I actually stayed up longer than them.
And what kind, do you have money? What's going on?
I mean, I had like per diem.
Yeah.
I had like,
What
like
a
living.
life.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
14 years old. You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy camp?
Hell no.
Hashtag no Diddy.
No Diddy.
Do you have any views on Usher? Because a lot of things have come back to where
Usher.
they talk about his.
Usher, I'm tired of Usher.
Oh, okay.
Goofy bitch.
Oh.
Got your asshole ripped open and the only thing it inspired was loyalty. They ripped your ass open. Gene didn't say it. He said, check the records at the hospital. I'm saying it. You got your ripped open. Then you take Justin Bieber from Lily White, Canada, and take him to the flavor of Fuck Off, the kiddie edition. Get his ripped open. Now everything's coming out, and the first thing you do is run the Bolly with another kiddie rape who works with the man, L.A. Reid, that sent you to the Diddy flavor freak off.
Not the flavor.
Now you got Justin Bieber breaking up relationships and shit. He sucked Odell Beckham dick at the club, and the next thing you know, he don't even want Kim no more. That's what they learned at the freak off. How to steal bitch niggas.
Looking at this lawsuit, right? Lil Rod, he alleges that, Diddy told him personally that he had sex with Usher. And when you look at the lawsuit, even though they got Usher's name redacted, you could tell who it is because they described him as the guy that performed at the Super Bowl.
Right.
So, I mean, we all know who that is, but how you feel about that, man?
Well, I mentioned that earlier, that he said about Stevie J. The Usher part, that's a touchy situation, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I had a certain feeling, and I felt a certain way when Usher got on Shay Shay, and I don't mean to mention other people's platforms, but he got on Shay Shay and he mentioned how great and how good Puff taught him and everything. You know what I'm saying? About the business, right? I know, and people know, that was around that in that time that Puff and Usher did have a situation. And that situation led Usher to the hospital. Now, I let Usher explain that to y'all. I let Usher tell that story. But how dare you say a man that groomed you, you gonna give him a pass? Bruh, you know I know. Let me reframe you on something. Remember, Usher? We was at the Swiss Hotel. Puff had Kim in the room. Had one of Keith Sweat's baby mothers in the big room outside the master bedroom. He came outside in his robe. She gave him a fellatio right there. His back was turned to me. She gave him a fellatio. You knocked on the door. I came and opened the door for you. Puff went in the room. You came in the room and kissed that girl dead in her mouth. Now I'm telling that because you taking up for somebody that you know and a lot of more people know didn't do you right when you was at Diddy camp. Y'all put it together.
And what you mean by Diddy camp?
Remember? He was on one of the talk shows, the white guy with the curly hair. what's his name? The white guy with the curly hair. And he said, yo, would you send your son to Diddy camp? And Usher said, no. Ask him why he won't send him to Diddy camp. But yet and still you praise him.
Damn, man, and you said that, I know you can't go into detail, but you said that it was a situation where Diddy sent him to the hospital?
Let Usher explain that to you. Let Usher mama explain that to you. And the hospital was in Scarsdale, New York.